amazing instrument. One of the reasons being is it can be used in so many ways, so many styles. Everything from soft acoustic rock or classical music to the loudest, heaviest, most bombastic music ever played or recorded, and everywhere in between. Now, while I love strumming an acoustic guitar and singing songs with my family and friends, maybe the most fun you can have on a guitar, at least in my opinion, is to play solos, to improvise, to be a guitar hero. Well, maybe not a guitar hero yet, but I wanted to do a series of videos on questions that I get asked most often. And the most obvious one is, how do I get started playing guitar solos? What are the skills and techniques required? What equipment do I need? What theory do I need to know? I'm Charlie Long. Thanks for visiting my channel, watching this video. And while I can't answer all those questions in detail, or this would be a very long video, I'm going to give you some real direction on where to start and how to go about practicing so that, yeah, maybe being a guitar hero is in your future after all. And for the sake of time, I'm making some assumptions here. I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you can already play some, you know some chords, you've got some rhythm guitar skills, and you're wondering what's the next step that you need to take to start soloing. Well, I'm going to tell you it's a lot like learning a new language. When you learn a new language, you've got to learn some vocabulary. So with your guitar, we've got to get your fingers moving. You've got to learn some notes and patterns of notes that have a specific relation to each other and a specific relationship to the chords that you'll be playing solos over. That, in a nutshell, is the concept of soloing. Playing a series of notes that sound good over the music you're playing with, and of course, playing them in such a way to convey emotion and feeling. I mentioned choosing to play notes that sound good over the chords of the music that you're playing over. We're actually going to start our solo exploration by using the notes of the chords themselves to help us make melodies. We're going to keep things simple in this video, so we're only going to talk about two types of chords, major and minor chords. And we're going to focus on the simplest voicing of a chord, which is a 3-note chord or a triad. No sevenths, no add nines, no flat 13ths yet. Now, if you're not really familiar with scales, all you need to know at this point is that there are 7 notes in a major scale, and they can be referred to by their numerical place in the scale. So the root note, or the first note of the scale, is the 1. The second note of the scale is the 2nd, etc. A major triad is made up of a root note, a note, 2 whole steps. Now, a whole step is 2 frets on the guitar above the root, which is something we refer to as the major third interval, and another note, which is a step and a half, which is 3 frets away from the major third, called the 5th. We're going to play in the key of G major for this video, so that would give us a G note as our root. So if I play a G note on the 3rd fret of the low E string, there's my 1. If I go up 4 frets to the 7th fret of the low E string, I've got a B note. There's my major 3rd. If I go up 3 frets from there to the 10th fret, I've got a D note, which is my 5th. So a G major triad consists of the notes G, B, and D. If we play those notes as a chord, or if we play them all at once, it sounds like this. That's not what we're doing today. For our purposes today, we're going to play the notes one at a time, like this. That's called an arpeggio, and it is a super useful tool for finding the correct notes to play over a chord, because you are playing the notes of the chord. Now, this situation is something that a lot of players struggle with. We can find these grouping of notes all over the fretboard. Not only that, but there are multiple ways to play the exact same notes, and you can play them on multiple string sets all over the neck. So it is a unique challenge for the guitar, but it's also a tremendous opportunity. Once you learn to find them instantly and memorize where they are, you'll always have something to play and an anchor from which to start your ideas. So it's really great that we've got these notes all over the fretboard. Check out this diagram showing some of the places that you can play G major triads all over the neck. Let's walk through how you might go about finding a G major triad arpeggio all over the fretboard. Let's play a G note on the low E string at the 3rd fret. We're going to play a B note at the 2nd fret of the A string. We're going to play a D note at the 5th fret of the A string. So this grouping of notes has a very distinctive shape. It goes up from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret, up this direction, then down. Looks like an upside down check mark. Now, here's a great tip. If you can find another G note somewhere else on the neck, this same shape will repeat. So let's go over one string to the 5th string. There's a G note at the 10th fret. There's a B note at the 9th fret of the D. There's a D note at the 12th fret of the D. So my shape repeats. It works. Let's go to the D string. There's a G note at the 5th fret. There's my B note on the 3rd fret of the G string, a D note on the 7th fret of the G string. My shape repeats. So I can go to the B string. There's a G note at the 8th fret. There is a B note at the 7th fret of the high E, a D note at the 10th fret. So again, my shape repeats. Now, there is a G note on the 12th fret of the G string, but the shape is going to change when you play it on the G and B strings because the B string is tuned differently than the other strings. It's tuned a major third above the G string. All the rest of the strings are tuned a 4th apart from one another. So I have to change the shape by a fret. So I'm playing a G at the 12th fret of the G string, a B at the 12th fret of the B string, and then a D at the 15th fret of the B string. So as long as you keep that in mind, you're going to be able to, as long as you can find your G note, you're going to be able to use this shape all over the fretboard. Remember, when you're playing on the G and B strings, you've got to alter this shape by a fret. But that gives you a great tool to use to find these shapes all over, which is awesome. Now, we can do the same thing for minor arpeggios, except for the minor arpeggios, the distance between the root and the 3rd is a 1.5 steps or 3 frets. We call this a minor 3rd. 2 whole steps are between the minor 3rd and the 5th. So the fact that we're playing a minor 3rd, it changes everything. And as you probably realize or know from your experience playing music, that a minor chord is a sad sounding chord. So here's G major, here's G minor. Here's a G major arpeggio. Here's G minor arpeggio. Completely different mood, completely different sonic information. And that's what makes it so useful. You can use this same exercise to find your minor triad arpeggios all over the fretboard. So here's our diagram showing some of the places where you can find these minor triad arpeggios all over the neck. There are 2 other kinds of triad arpeggios that you can play, and I'll talk about those in another video. We're not going to talk about them today. What's important for getting you started with soloing is that you now have a way to instantly find correct notes to play over major and minor chords. Major chord, you can play a major triad arpeggio. Minor chord, you can play a minor triad arpeggio. Good stuff. Okay, now we've got a tool to use and we can address both major and minor chords. You got to put in some work to get comfortable and fluent with these triads all over the fretboard. Once you do, I think you're going to be very pleased with what you're going to be able to do, how you're going to be able to start soloing. Part 2 of this video, we're going to show you how to practice these things, to really get these things down, to really start making them musical. And we're going to combine them with some other ideas, some scales like pentatonic scales, both major and minor, and really get into playing some solos. So I look forward to seeing you then. Please like, subscribe. We'll see you soon with more videos. Again, I'm Charlie Long. I want to help you make sense out of soloing.